We've been scheduled to do this for, years. So forgive the delay. John, I don't know if you've seen my previous style of interviews, but I'm quite harsh in the beginning. I gotta tie up a lot of loose ends, and I don't jump over a lot of stuff. So I'll probably come off as really rude. Do not take it personal. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. In the beginning, I don't mean to. Okay, I just wanted to have that dialogue with you beforehand.
So yeah, I know. I've seen it.
Okay, cool. You claim that you've been involved in outer space. How is that when you have the appearance of just some average guy living in America? Well, how do you have all these experiences?
Well, because of I look pretty normal, but for one thing, I am an alien hybrid, which I'm sure we can get into that, and I have a pretty extraordinary family history of connections to certain elite bloodlines and things such as that.
Can we name a couple? May we mention a couple? I know that bloodlines people talk about are Rothschild, DuPont, things like that.
There is a connection to the Rothschilds and also to a family out of Spain by the name of Deborah, who were Queen Isabella's hit squad back in the day. So those are mine.
Okay, if you're related to such bloodlines, how come you're not sitting in some mansion somewhere in River Oaks in Houston?
Well, because they always have one branch of the family that is poor and that they can manipulate and use in their messed up religion and nowadays in these secret projects.
Something like Penny Bradley experiences? Doesn't she have the same? Yeah. Okay, so you say these programs and all this stuff. Where is all this stuff going down?
In our own military bases, in secret bases that are right under our feet, but most of all, off planet.
Okay, let's start. So you drop 3 things. These military bases. How come a lot of people in the military don't even know about what you claim is going on?
I think probably actually a lot of them do, but they're just under contract to not say anything because that is a thing in the military. You do sign NDAs.
Yeah, no. I hear from people that it's way deep at bases. It's just extremely deep.
Yeah, that too. So, and it happens in the basements or sometimes even further underground in these bases, and it's very well hidden.
Who built out these bases, or who started going around and adding on to them? How, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Just name a couple companies people might know.
Oh, let's see. I'm drawing a blank on the name.
It's okay.
Caterpillar Company was involved in some of that, and Northrop Grumman Company. You can look them up. They were involved in that.
Okay, I wanted you to name some companies so I could then say, how come these companies that we know of, Caterpillar, I passed a huge construction site. They're building a Buc-ee's right here on the way to my mom's where I'm doing this interview because I'm not at my house. How can a surface level corporation do these or supply the services for clandestine operations and there not be any crossover?
Where do you think all the missing money that is never accounted for in the Pentagon goes to?
Look, I believe you. Listen, I'm there too.
I know. I'm answering your question.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Yeah. They, you really think that they just lose trillions of dollars every year? No, they're spending it on something. And these companies also, you'll notice a lot of them have missing revenue. How they have so much money that disappears at the end of every year, yet they can't seem to pay their employees enough to keep them from going on strike. I mean, they're doing something.
I'm going to throw four terms at you real quick. I want you to digest on them what you can. Gary McKenna, Donald Rumsfeld. I'm not going to say honorable in front of it. The Pentagon in 2001, where Donald Rumsfeld was, and the black budget. Those four things. So black budget, Donald Rumsfeld, Gary McKenna, and the Pentagon, where Rumsfeld was sitting during 2001. Elaborate on that what you can.
Okay. I don't know a whole lot about I'm assuming you're referring to the 9/11 quote-unquote attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about that. That's not a subject I'm read into very much.
But for the other things.
Yeah. Gary McKinnon, I do know about. He hacked into the Pentagon, or I believe it was the Pentagon. It might have been the NSA in 99, I think. And he proved quite a number of things, including the existence of a branch of the Navy known as Solar Warden, and that they have quote unquote non-terrestrial officers. And when they say non-terrestrial officers, they don't mean people out in the ocean. They mean people not on this planet. So that's what I know about the McKinnon hack. Rumsfeld
himself, just as an individual, is he even terrestrial, if you will? Is he in the occult?
He is in the occult. Whether he's terrestrial or not, probably not, to be honest. He is most likely part of the what some people call the Breakaway civilization, which I can explain that in a minute, but a lot of elites are from there and they are not born here, and they're essentially who's running this planet and many others, but we're talking about this one right now.
Tell me what you know about the black budget in Congress.
The black budget is what funds secret projects. It funds the CIA and their meddling in the affairs of other countries. It funds off-world things. It funds the research and development of technologies that we can barely even imagine. Mm-hmm. And by the way, there is documentation of this. Just because it doesn't show up on their budget lists at the end of every year doesn't mean that there isn't documentation of it.
Where would that documentation be, and in what form?
You would want to go to a site called the Black Vault.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yes. Look up anything that he has related to MK Ultra and anything he has related to aerospace technological development. And these are all documents. He checks on them himself, this man. They are all verified. They are all official. And they were all signed and stamped and sealed by high up people. And yeah, that's... So people should definitely go check that out.
Tell me the truth about JFK and Diana. And why? Condense it.
Yeah. JFK was killed because he wanted to expose the CIA, which was, at that time, this new agency that had basically been given an unlimited budget and total carte blanche by the Truman administration initially to do basically whatever the fuck they felt like, whenever and wherever they felt like. And JFK was not about that. and he was going to expose them and demand that they publicize their actions and that their budget be cut back. And so they killed him for it and essentially established themselves at that point totally as the real rulers of the world. Diana, it was partly out of her quote unquote disloyalty to her family in their agendas that are also world domination focused. And it was also because she also was threatening to expose certain things, and she thought she was, because of her position, she thought that she was untouchable and that she would be able to get away with this because she was so famous and so well connected and everything. Nowadays, I think maybe she would get away with it because you'll notice it's a lot harder to kill people who are whistleblowers in this day and age, but back then, no, she didn't stand a chance, unfortunately.
How did she die?
In that car crash, her car was run off the road by this, it was supposedly a news van, which I'm sure it was, but the people driving it were agents. They weren't real reporters.
Okay, I think I heard from other people, and maybe even Alice Jones of the Greek, that she was still alive. She was probably going to survive. And the ambulance ride took a long ass time, and that they cut out like her heart and ovaries and all sorts of shit. And people went and ate that serum.
Good grief. That's very possible.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, okay, I'm going to bounce some names off you. Just give me some knee jerk reactions to them. I'm going to do 3 in a row. Al Bielek, Phil Schneider, Ted Gunderson.
Al Bielek, he was another whistleblower for the Montauk Project. I have personal memories of him that are not pleasant at all.
Real quick. So would you back up the stuff that, who's the guy with the long hair? Al Rakim, the guy from Wisconsin? He always talks about Al. What's his name? I like him a lot.
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the name either. But
Hakeem Ra. I want to say like Hakeem, but he talks about Al Bielek and the other guy, Terry Nichols or something. He would
Preston.
Kids. Are you saying he would fuck with you too?
Oh yes. They're
I just don't understand. How can you be a whistleblower but also want to, butt fuck children? I don't get it.
People are strange. That's all I can say. And he was also probably covering his ass to an extent. Well, he definitely was. Preston Nichols definitely was. And was trying to make it seem like he was righteous and a victim in everything, which he was not. He was a willing participant. So it was partly them trying to get ahead of the curve of being exposed by being the first ones out there and saying this, and this. And what were the other names?
Phil Schneider, and then I want you to move into Ted Gunderson and tell me if there's any overlap there.
I confess I've never heard of Ted Gunderson, but Phil Schneider I do know about. He was another whistleblower and not a pedophile, at least as far as we know. I mean, I guess you never.
Props to Al Bielek, so that's why.
Yeah, but I mean, he probably didn't know what he was doing. People at that time didn't really know who and what Al Bielek really was, so it was, no one's perfect.
What about Phil Schneider's accounts? All the stuff he talks about, is he accurate? Is he lying?
Yes.
Is it Is he what?
He's accurate. Yes. The thing about his that I question, that I don't think he was intentionally telling a mistruth about, but I don't think that him stumbling upon that base was quite as accidental as he seemed to think it was.
That's exactly my gut instinct as well. And also, too, to me, and I'm not speaking for you, but it's almost like I still can't find things too bad about Trump. But I think that, if just like Trump, if Phil is such a bad guy, they wouldn't have tied that cord around his neck and let him die that way.
Probably not, no.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So the stuff he's okay. Ted Gunderson, I think you might actually know this cat. He was he was the FBI agent that retired, and then upon his retirement was asked to stay involved. So he blew out the Boys Town and the McMartin pedophile ring. And
oh, that guy. Yeah. Well, I props to him for what he did, of course. But yeah, I'm sure that he was probably killed for saying all this as well.
So we did that.
It's only been in maybe the past 5 years that you can really comfortably talk about things like this and probably not get killed.
How do you feel about Alex Jones, Bill Cooper, and the Greek?
Alex Jones, I have nothing against the man, and he's quite entertaining to me, and I think a lot of the things he talks about are important. I don't think he goes quite far enough.
I feel the exact same way. Yeah.
Yeah. Phil Cooper,
William Cooper. Bill Cooper.
Oh, yeah, Bill Cooper.
Yeah.
I have a lot of admiration for his book. What was his book called? Yes, that one. That's definitely worth reading.
Oh yes, I highly recommend it. There's also, you can find it if you just type it in. What I hate is you have to scroll so far, but if you type in the Dulce book and Behold a Pale Horse, if you scroll far enough down, on YouTube, it'll, you'll find it and you can sit and listen to it. I do it on 1.5 or 2 point speed while I'm out working outside. I always listen to Behold a Pale Horse or the Dulce book. I mean, it's so entertaining to someone like me. But anyway.
Yeah, definitely people listening to this definitely read or listen to his book. And I personally owe him a debt because he is, and as do all the SSP whistleblowers, because he is, as far as I can tell, the first person to publicly state that we have a base on Mars.
Yes, so, I'll never forget that. And then some lady in the crowd got all hissy pissed, and he's like, "You can get out of here! Like there is a fucking." You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, let's. Well, I'm gonna hit a couple things, and then we're gonna get to all the good sex stuff. I don't want to keep people waiting too long for all that good booty hole popping. Okay, tell me what you feel about the Greek.
I like him quite a lot. He has very good information. People definitely should listen to him.
Why does the Greek, out of everyone in this information revelation, if you will, why does he keep such anonymity? I don't like that. It's almost like Q. Now, these are my words. We all know Q is a big disinformation thing, and I think at some level, and again, this is me, at some level, the Greek doesn't owe me anything. And if he's going to come out of his way and give me all this stuff that seems so accurate, I don't want it to give me hopium, and I don't ever want to get carried away. I don't even know what the fucking guy looks like, and I don't even know his real name. And I don't know if he's a spin doctor. Again, I'm not talking shit about him. I just don't know, and I never want to be fooled.
Okay, I've never seen his face either, and in fact, I've never spoken to the man. So I'm not going to put any words in his mouth.
Yeah, if you can't comment, don't. I have a whole bunch of things I just want to bounce off you. That's all,
My only comment is he might be somewhat paranoid about getting killed if he were to show his real identity. So
if it is an altruistic thing he's trying to do as far as disclosure, I respect that. But also, too, at the same time, I don't know. I hate getting fooled like you. Okay, I'm gonna throw a couple things at you real quick. Tell me about. Okay, Jason Rice, IDARF, Solar Warden, and Earth Defense.
Okay, Jason Rice was or is. I think he's still alive. At least I haven't heard anything about. I haven't heard anything about if he's died. He's another whistleblower for the secret space program and for the Interplanetary Defense and
Sure.
Research Forces, or IDARF, which is or
His
Defense and
story,
Reaction.
his stories go into such depth about things and other. It just makes me think like, is this guy really like yanking my chain? I mean, I love him, but like, I mean, can you verify this guy? Would you put your neck out on the line for this cat?
Yes, I would.
Yeah. No, I feel that way too. I just yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would. He's very accurate. And what IDARF is, it's a naval intelligence branch that works with the German Breakaway in space. I'll explain that term in just a second, but they work with them for the defense of various planets that are colonized by humans. And the German Breakaway is, I'm sure we could do an entire show about this in and of itself, but it's a group of Germans who fled Germany at the end of the war, first to Antarctica and then off planet. And
Real quick,
with,
before you run over this, when you say Germans, were these people Nazis or Nazi sympathizers, or are they a separate group?
they're the aristocracy. They propped up the Nazi regime initially, but when Hitler went insane and killed all the Jews, they disowned him.
That's fine. Yeah, continue your point. So they went to Antarctica. What was the name of the base or bases? What did they discover out there?
They discovered, or I believe were likely led to, alien technology hidden in the mountains. In the area now is owned, I believe, by Finland, and it's called Queen Maud's Land. But back then it was owned by Nazi Germany, and it was referred to as Neuschwabenland. And a lot of the quote-unquote mountains in that area are actually pyramids containing stargates and various other ancient technologies. And they set up shop in that area and started a colony, which they still have a skeleton staff there of military personnel. It's no longer a civilian colony since the early 90s.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so are you implying as well that other pyramids like Mayan, Aztec, or hell, even the ones that are called the Egyptian pyramids, they had stargates in them at one point, and that's what their primary function was?
Yes, that definitely.
Thank you for that. Let's see what else. Okay. Tell me what you think about the X-Files was. Was that some sort of soft disclosure? Is it accurate?
Yeah. Oh yeah, to the point that I'm shocked that they got away with a lot of it, especially in the later seasons, when they started talking about super soldiers and hybrids and all of that, and the human passing hybrids living amongst us and all of that. That was total soft disclosure and very ahead of its time too.
What do you feel? What do you know, and how do you feel about the Federal Reserve?
I'm not a fan. What I know about it is basically it's there to back up a fiat currency, and to keep this country being run like a corporation, which it is. And if people should look at how corporate structures work and then look at American politics, and it's very obvious.
Why is there?
Why is the Federal Reserve
there? I'm so sorry. No. You just explained that. That's not what I want to ask. Just ignore that question. Let's move on from the Fed. I have a lot of stuff I want to touch base on. So you already talked about Jason Rice, Federal Reserve. Okay, we're gonna do about 4. Yeah, we have 5 more terms, and then we're gonna get to sex and outer space. Tell me about Preston Nichols and Mel's Hole. What do you think about both of those things?
Preston Nichols, I have absolutely nothing good to say about.
Why?
He was a self-admitted pedophile. You can go and watch his interviews, and he openly talked about how he liked young boys. Like he fully admitted it.
How do they get into that? If you don't mind, like if you've dealt with all this sexual abuse and shit in different lives and all this, like growing up, all I know, all I can relate with, truly, and I don't say this to flatter myself or anything. Like I grew up as a kid, even when I was like 2 years old, I wanted to like just touch girls' tits and vaginas. I mean, there was nothing gay about me, and I was never attracted to like a young girl per se. Like I don't. To me, that would be like fighting an intellectual instinct. How does someone like Preston Nichols acquire such a taste for same sex and age of minority same sex?
Probably a genetic defect and also upbringing. Some people are brought up in that way. So, yeah, it's
okay. Well, tell me what he was involved with, because to me, Preston Nichols, Al Bielek, and Phil Schneider they all kind of mention each other.
Yeah, Preston Nichols was involved in what some people call the Montauk Project, which that was not its real name. Its real name was Project Phoenix. That was a time travel and general manipulation of the planet program run out of Camp Hero in New York. And Preston Nichols, he was brought there as a child in the 50s and kind of grew up there, and then eventually worked his way up to being the head of it. In I believe he fully took power in 1970 or 71, and he remained there until he was ousted by the kids, his victims, in 1986. And so that's quite a subject. Mel's Hole.
Yeah, tell me about him. I heard Jimmy. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
I heard Jimmy Payne, he calls himself that, talk about Mel's Hole.
I don't know much about it, but I believe it's an inner Earth entrance. It goes way, way, way down into inner Earth, or Agartha, which is its correct name, or one of its correct names. There are several nations down there, but the one that's underneath.
What are the nations? Tell me the nations.
There's Agartha and Telos, and there's one that is it's Atlantis. It's what's left of Atlantis. Most of Atlantis did sink, but some of it was also in inner Earth, and that part of it still remains to this day.
Tell me about the Council of Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission.
They're essentially both groups of people who meet together to run the country, with the United States as the head of the empire. And the CFR in particular is in charge of running foreign countries from behind the scenes. The Trilateral Commission is involved in the funneling of money. They're the people who decide which projects get which amount of money and things like that, and on who gets foreign aid and all of that.
Okay, tell me about, you had all sorts of sex in space and you were fucking all sorts of chicks. Where to start?
Oh boy, where would you like to start?
Well, at the beginning, who's the first chick you fucked? Was it some good pussy? Was it sideways in outer space?
No, it wasn't sideways. It was on a base. Let's see. Chronologically, I guess the first one I remember would be this Alteran woman.
What's
She
Alteran?
was from the Altair star system, and they look just like us, but they have turquoise skin. And yeah, it was good.
Is that why they sing that song, I'm blue, da ba dee da ba da?
Maybe, yeah.
Did she sing that after you fucked her?
No, she did not.
What is sex like? Was it just the only thing, a cosmetic difference is she's blue? Pussy's blue?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, well that's pretty
But
boring. Like, besides all the things that are quite humanoid, I mean, what kind of different alien holes did you stick your dick in?
the most exotic would be this kind of reptilian girl. We were seriously involved, so it wasn't just a.
Now, real quick, reptilians, based on what I know of Earth reptiles, all their genitals, they're inside. They like, I guess, pop out during like, is this thing? Does it look asexual until it's ready to fuck? I mean, like, what does
Yeah.
reptile pussy look like?
This particular species, it's yeah, everything is inside. There is a very small opening in that area, but it widens out when the act is about to happen. um, and
Why is I just don't understand that anatomy. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around that anatomy. Like,
I don't know. That's just.
well, how do you get horny if it's just like some little ear hole? I don't know.
I mean, foreplay is a thing.
But if it's a reptile, I'm assuming it has sharp teeth, scale. This thing will rip you apart.
No, it wasn't that kind of reptilian. She was not very big. She was maybe 6.5 feet tall, and she was quite beautiful. She had very shiny, smooth scales, and she had a very nicely shaped face. She was quite pretty.
But like, is there reptile boobs? I just don't get it. I mean, is there a tail?
No,
ass?
no,
Like,
no. She didn't have a chest of any kind, and she did have a tail, a very long prehensile tail.
So where did y'all fuck? How did y'all meet? I mean, what's the intergalactic version of Tinder? Just how did this happen?
It happened because of my job at the time when I was working at this time for Solar Warden on Europa at the Galactic checkpoint.
Did you say Europa as in one of the moons in our?
Yes, Europa, the moon of Jupiter.
Okay, which what I was taught in school was some big frozen planet or a frozen ocean, and then there's water underneath it. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
Is it potable water? Is this stuff? I mean, if you could chip away, heat up, and drink. I mean, like.
Oh yeah, you could. It's well, it's salt water, so you'd have to desalinate it. But yeah, otherwise it's the same as our water. And it's Europa is very important strategically because you know the giant red spot in Jupiter?
Yes, the big storm, we're told.
Yeah. At its center is a wormhole that goes to many locations around this galaxy and even to a few locations outside of it. And on Europa, there is a station, basically like a border crossing for the solar system that monitors traffic.
On its surface, beneath it?
Under the surface, it has an opening, a giant cavern opening that's into which they've constructed a landing pad, and then
the opening, you went inside her opening.
If you want to put it that way, sure. Yeah. So I work
first.
What?
You buy her a drink first?
Yeah, we were.
So there's a bar. There's a bar on Europa.
Yeah, there's a bar on Europa. There's a base there. It has around 5,000 staff. Most of them non-humans. But
what's the name of the bar?
Le langue de chat, the cat's tongue in French.
Okay, what was I about to say? Well, hold on. How is there French influence out in fucking Europa? Where do they get the like? Why isn't it in Martian or Plutonian or I don't know Andromeda? I mean, why French?
This base was constructed by the United Nations. So,
Jesus. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so you banged a blue chick, you banged a reptile. What else? Anything worth mentioning? I mean, let's do it. Let's talk about sex while we're on it, because I have a bunch of boring shit to talk about too. So let's just get all the sex.
Okay. I've generally kept to very human-like people. I'm not that freaky, where I'm into things that look totally non-human or that aren't female or male.
Yeah.
Like, because by the way, that's not. There are species that have more than two sexes. There's this one. I don't know what you'd even call them. I guess they're like a cephalopod species that they have 5 sexes. Don't ask me how that works, but they do. I've never been into anything like that. So.
Oh, hey, my family's back and it's going to start getting disruptive. Can we do a part 2 next weekend or something?
Yeah, sure.
Because I hear right now they're about to get loud and start walking through. I'm sorry, I'm not at my house.
Okay.
I'm going to hit you off camera. I want to pick up on this. I have pages of notes I want to get to.
Okay.
This will be part 1. Is that okay?
Sure.
I have your permission to publish this, or do you want the copy?
Oh, you have my permission.
Okay, I'm gonna hit you. Hey, I'm gonna hit you in a little while. Thank you.
Yes, you too.
All right. All right.